What up? It's the real Keys. Any other a fabrication of your imagination. And Universal Debates presents Real Random Versus Discussions. Here we discuss versus battles that you wouldn't normally think of instead of the same old recycled fights that you see every day. And I'm back with another inverse battle, this time from Tenkaichi. And we got Kamiizumi, the Sword Saint, Bushin versus the Sovereign Sword Man-Slaying Machine, Kojiro. These two are actually my two favorite characters in the series. And today I'm going to be putting them up against each other, analyzing their stats to see who wins. But I think this time I'm going to have to specify a location, because Kojiro fought on top of a rooftop, and he was the only one that pretty much had a ring out throughout the whole series. So let's just say they fought in the same arena as when Kami fought Hino, which was in the cage. But now let's go on to their stats. For attack potency, no pun intended, but Kami is the literal god of the verse. He was able to send Hino back flying, and Hino is a sumo wrestler. And he simply did this just by pushing his sword into Hino's stomach. He also flipped Hino over just by twisting his arm when Hino was attacking. Hino is also extremely durable, being able to survive a shooting squad from Oda Nobunaga. He cut Hino up many of times, and the only reason Hino even survived was because he was instinctively reacting, and it made Kami dodge his vitals. And at one point in the fight, Hino and Kami clashed. Kami was using his sword, and Hino was using his fist, and it didn't even cut off none of his fingers. Hino's muscles was described as powerful as cannonballs, and his skeleton is as strong as steel. Hino's fist can hit up to 722.5 kilojoules, which is wild level. Hino was also able to shatter the ground with just a stomp, knocking up rubble, and I have a calc for it. Hino's stomp is 11 tons of TNT, which is city block level. This would easily put Kami in the tier of city blocks since he is above Hino. For Kojiro, he fought against Hanzo and hurt him many of times, but the thing is, it's hard to actually scale how durable Hanzo is. But Kojiro does have a saving grace, because he did a lot of damage to the environment. Like how he shattered these roof tiles, he was also able to cut cleanly through a statue, and I do have a calc for this. The energy needed to do this would be 28.8 megajoules, or small building level. So this would safely put Kojiro at small building level at least. But comparing the stats, Kami wins in this category. For speed, Kami was able to fight against unawakened Hino. And even though he's a big sumo wrestler, they still considered him fast for his stature. They were in an enclosed space, and Kami was just pretty much dancing around him. And when Hino was awakened, he was moving even faster, able to blitz the crowd. And Hino also had a few attacks, which were basically vacuum blades. And for a person to create vacuum blades with their hands and feet, they would have to be moving at Mach 5 or hypersonic. And Kami is actually faster than that, because against Hino said that he needs to be moving faster than sound and faster than light to even catch up to Kami. And this is an amped Hino who understood the laws of the universe, so you can take that as the actual truth instead of just flowery language. But I do want to say that this isn't base Kami who can move that fast. This is only Kami in his final form that can move faster than light. But like I said before, Kami is the god of the verse. They even couldn't believe that Kami was 90 years old from how fast he was. And for Kojiro, it's another stat that's hard to call for him. Kojiro doesn't really have any speed feats to compare. He fought Hanzo, but we don't really know how fast Hanzo really is. Hanzo did fight on the battlefield with Honda, and Honda was never hit by a bullet. So we could say, scaling from Honda, that Hanzo is at the same speed of a bullet. Hanzo also dodged Kojiro's attack that cut the statue in half, and the speed needed to cut that statue in half was at least Mach 5 or hypersonic. So we can say that his speed is also hypersonic, or at least he has hypersonic attack speed. But I'm sorry, Kami wins this stat also. It's just not even close. We're assuming that Kojiro is even hypersonic, which is only a few times faster than the speed of sound, while Kami is thousands of times faster than the speed of sound. So Kami takes speed. For durability and endurance, Kami's AP should match his durability. Hino was a physical fighter who used his hands and feet as weapons, and he was throwing vacuum blades that became faster and a lot wider, so meaning they were a lot stronger the more that he threw. Most people more than likely would have been cut in half, but Kami only took surface level scratches. And for Kojiro, he actually had some feats here. When it comes to endurance, he took a lot of attacks from Hanzo, and a lot of them were sneak attacks. He survived getting his heart pierced. He also survived falling off of Nobunaga's castle, which is 50 meters tall, and he only received a few broken bones, and I also have a calc for this. The fall damage he would have took was 24,665 joules, or 24 kilojoules, which is wild level. So this is another stat I have to give to Kami. Kojiro might have better endurance, but Kami has the better durability. Kami will be able to tank a lot of Kojiro's attacks, while Kojiro more than likely can't even tank one attack from Kami. For equipment, Kami just has his katana, and for his skills, Kami is 90 years old who has spent most of his life on the battlefield. He became so skilled that he was able to cut an arrow in half while he was half asleep, was able to cut just a wick off of multiple candles, and for the past 10 years, he wasn't even awake for most of his fights. He was so good with the sword that they banned him from even pulling it out the sheath, and that's crazy for a swordsman to not be able to use his actual sword. He was the founder of the Shinkage Ryu, and because of his supreme mastery over the sword, he was forbidden to ever draw it and has not broken his prohibition for 50 years. He has mastered hand-to-hand martial arts. In the beginning of his fight with Hino, he was using his bare hands. His intellect on the universe and the martial arts is unbound, and he's called the Sword God for a reason. Kojiro uses a Uromi blade that he calls the Bewitched Sword, Mono Shai Zao Nagamitsu. It is a flexible, bendable sword with extended range further than a katana can reach. Kojiro was an orphan who grew up to be an emotionless killer. He grew up with a bunch of other orphans who also were supposed to be emotionless killers. And then one day they all slaughtered each other and he was the last one standing. And his fighting style is called Genryu, and he uses a technique called Tsubame Gaishi, which Kojiro uses the blade like a whip, making it bounce off the ground. And he's so precise and accurate with it that he can knock a tile off the roof and send it flying at you. Kojiro is extremely intelligent, able to adapt and analyze his opponent. So essentially the same move doesn't work twice on him. For skills, I'm gonna have to give it to Kami because he not only can use a sword, he can also use basic hand-to-hand martial art. And he's also got 60 years to 70 years more experience than Kojiro. And for weapons, I would definitely have to give it to Kojiro just because Kami has a basic katana for a weapon. So Kojiro will also have the range. For intelligence, Kojiro is a prodigy who has been on multiple assassination missions. But Kami has spent so much time on the battlefield that it's still kind of not even a close comparison. So Kami takes this too. Now on to my favorite part, the hacks and abilities. Kami has reached a state to where he has opened the door of martial consciousness, called the gates of celestial awakening. This is a state that separates the realm of man from the realm of God that every martial artist wishes to achieve. Once open, he can even control the beating of his own heart at will. The first gate allows him to increase his reaction time, speed, and agility. He can also redirect his opponent's attacks back onto them or any force, including gravity. He says that he can see all the substances that make up the universe. The second gate is called the inner gate, doors of heaven. In this gate, it allows him to amp his speed more to where previous attacks that were just barely hitting him are no longer touching him, and people watching can't even see what is going on with slashes just appearing. The third and final gate is called the innermost gate, gate of supreme descent. This further amps his speed and also reinvigorates his life force, making him younger again. The downside to this is it will kill him after he opens the final gate. Kojiro has an ability called Chart of Creation. This allows him to process, analyze, and comprehend the weak point, hardness, trajectory, and basic capabilities of whatever he witnesses. From his perspective, it looks like a status bar. With this, he can see how a fight will end, can predict what can happen next, and can see what percent your body is at, which shows how much of a fight left you have in you. It's really hard to call for this section, but I probably would have to say it's a tie. So for the most part, the gates just give you a stat amp, but there is a few other things that it does, like being able to push any force back onto your opponent, including gravity. And you also become so fast that most people can't even react to you. And then the third gate also makes you younger again, but the big issue is it will kill you. And that is a horrible downside. And with Kojiro, there isn't really a downside. It's just you have to do everything with your own base stats. So just because you're able to predict the next move doesn't mean you're fast enough to react to it. Just because you see the weakness doesn't mean that you'll be able to actually hit it or are strong enough to do any real damage. So for hacks and abilities, this is a tie. Now on to the comparison section, and with the bounty system that I created, Kami's bounty would be 806,000 with a grade of B+, and his threat level is proceed with caution. For Kojiro, his bounty is 510,000 with a grade of C+, and the threat level of proceed with caution. If you made it this far, you should like, share, subscribe, and comment for more. It don't cost you a dime while it costs me time, but on to the fight. So Kami has better speed, better durability, and better AP, while Kojiro has better endurance. We don't know how strong base Kami actually is, but he's still the top of the verse. If Kojiro gets hit one time, it's pretty much over with. But Kojiro does have a better range, and with his chart of creation, it might keep him in the fight a little while longer. But the moment Kami goes into his gates, it's pretty much over with. The only reason Hino even lasted as long as he did was because he's the most durable person in the verse, and he kept his distance. If for some reason Kami has to go into his second gate, he was so fast that Hino wasn't even able to actually catch up with him, and Hino was only instinctively moving to dodge being killed. And if Kojiro somehow makes it to the third gate, his chart of creation can tell that Kami is about to die. But Kami's final attack was so fast, it looked like he vanished. I like Kojiro, but he's really not winning against Kami. Out of 10 tries, he would possibly win 2, maybe. So I would have to give this Kami either low to mid diff, but that's all I got for today. Follow Universal Debates on Facebook and all my other pages. Links in the description.
So you know we got a problem. Hey.